Hello, how we doing? There's another Lisa. Hello. All sorts of Lisas this morning. Okay, all right. I'll stop saying hello to everybody and I'll start saying good morning. Okay, so good morning. Welcome to Power Yoga. I'm so happy that you're all here and so grateful for the opportunity to share this practice with each and every one of you today. All right, so we're going to start right here in a seated position. Just allow ourselves to get settled in. We're going to start with some gentle movement and then some breathing, okay? So as we find that seated position, just make sure it's comfortable. We have a good posture and that we're finding some comfort. We're not putting over stress on the ankles or the feet, okay? And then let's just begin a nice gentle rock as we start to move. Just a nice gentle sway. And as we begin that sway, let's start to think about our breath. Hi, Roger and Tammy. Hello. Welcome. Welcome. Let's think about our breath and start deepening our inhales and exhales. And the type of breath I want us to try and do is called a balloon breath. A balloon breath. So we're going to inhale nice and deeply through our nose or mouth. And then with our mouth open, just force the air out. Bring it all out. Inhale. And then puffing up those cheeks to let it out. So let's try that, about 5 rounds of that. Inhale nice and deep, and then puff up those cheeks. Good. Go ahead and switch directions on those circles. Just a gentle rock side to side. Inhale, and keep breathing in nice and as deeply as we can, and let that air out. Just force that air out. Very nice. You may even get a nice audible sound with that. And 2 purposes for that breath. One is just to kind of get us into our minds a little bit, being more mindful and get us out of what else is happening around us. And then, of course, the other is to start to warm the body. So a little faster exhale and a little longer inhale starts to engage and excite the body a little bit more. Good. Let's come to a stillness and begin just slowly fanning our arms. 3-part breath now as we inhale and fan our arms up. Inhale nice and high and exhale right back to heart center. Keep on going. So 6 elements to deep health. 6 elements to deep health. At least that's what some of the experts say. And yoga contributes to each one of those. How you might add. So some of those 6 elements include physical. Okay, physical elements, moving our bodies physically. Of course, that's what we do with our physical postures. And then emotional health. Of course, trying to find an engagement with our full range of emotions, but mostly trying to stay calm. And if we think about what yoga does, yoga allows us to try and engage with our minds, engage with our physical presence as well as our mindful presence, to try and find our bodies and our minds calm, trying to find the calm in any situation. And of course, environmental. Let's add some nice gentle twists. So from our heart center, fan those arms up, and then exhale to the left. Environmental, just our general surroundings, and whether those surroundings support our health and well-being. If we think about our yoga community, of course, we're not all together, but we are together. I can't think of a more supportive community, a more gentle community towards each other than a yoga community, okay? One that supports non-judgmental, one that supports being who you are. And of course, mental health, the aspects of connecting into our minds, inhaling and exhaling, and then using the breath to connect into our minds to allow us to be more mindful about what we feel on a physical level and an emotional level. And then there's, of course, our spiritual health, allowing us to find some meaning and some purpose. Very nice. Good. Let's start with some side bends here. Left hand just grabs onto the front of the shin. Inhale that right hand up and just rock over to the side as we exhale and bring that hand through. And then relational, creating relationships and being supported in those relationships. So think about our yoga practice together and the relationships that we have and the people that we see and we look forward to seeing. But not only that, do those people allow you to be who you are? Does yoga invite us to our mat and expect us to be something different than where we're at right now? Give me one more time. And so if we think about the physical and the emotional, now let's go on to the left hand and bring that right hand to the front of our shins. Inhale. Physical and emotional and environmental, those are three. And then the other three, mental, spiritual, and relational, or relationships. 6 elements of deep health, all which are supported by our yoga practice. And of course, practice means something that we do on a regular basis, on a consistent basis, okay? There's no judgment, of course, if this is your first time or if it's your 1000th time that you've done yoga. And whether you haven't been here in a while or not, this is your space, this is your place. This is meant for you right here. Good. All right, so let's inhale, both hands up nice and tall. Good, and then just exhale, elbows to those ribs. And again, inhale. And exhale to those ribs. Keep going, inhale. And exhale. Either through the nose or mouth on those inhales and exhales. And then let's add some pace to those. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Keep going. Inhale. And exhale. 3 more. Keep reaching. Inhale. Warming up our bodies by using that breath. Engaging our minds and bodies together with that breath. Keep going. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And then inhale. Leave those hands up there. Palms facing each other. Thumbs to the back of the room like we're holding onto a beach ball above our heads. Good. Just begin rocking to the side now. Exhale. Inhale back to center. And then exhale to the side. Pick any side that you want. Inhale, tall. And exhale, rock. And just feel the sides of our body as we're reaching in. Okay? Try to just stay in control. Try to not go overboard. We're going to lift those hips just a little bit. We're just trying to feel a nice, gentle stretch on the sides of our body. Inhale back to center and exhale as we hinge side to side. One more time each direction. Nice gentle sway right there. I'm going to scooch back to my mat just a little bit. Let's bring our legs out in front of us. Straight legs, toes toward those shins. And we're going to move into a forward fold, dynamic forward fold. Inhale as we reach up and exhale and hinge forward. Just let our body move the way it's designed to move. Let's not force these forward folds. Inhale and exhale. Reach nice and tall, sit really tall into that seated posture as we reach high. Engage the core as we reach overhead, and then exhale as far as the body will go without grabbing onto those legs and forcing anything. Maybe 3 more right here. Inhale and exhale and fold. One last time. Inhale and exhale. Now let's create a little stillness right here. We're going to turn to our left. So left hand behind us and right hand just to the outside of that left hip. And just a little rotation. Just a little rotation. Still sitting tall, crown of our head toward our tailbone. Just a little rotation. Just a little isolated move right here. A little hold, and then we're going to just start moving freely in just a little bit. Good. Take an inhale or an exhale and come out of this. Inhale and then exhale and rotate to the right. So that left hand to the outside of that right hip. That right hand behind us for support. Sit tall. Sit tall. And breathe. Sit tall and breathe. Good. Stand tall. Let's come back to center. Inhale and then exhale and rotate. Inhale to the center and exhale and rotate. It's a little dynamic now. And use those hands on the legs just to press in a little bit, just to feel a little extra without forcing it. We're not trying to go beyond. We're just trying to feel a little bit. And of course, connecting that movement, that rotation with our exhales will help us feel a little bit more. It will help us to reach in and feel just a little bit extra as the exhale just naturally softens through our body. Good. One more time, each direction. Perfect. All right. Come back to center now, a little bend in those knees. And our hands to prayer, we're reaching way overhead. And from here, we're going to bring those hands hip bone to hip bone. Exhale as we come back down and then lean back into it. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lean back and just continue to alternate side to side. Hip bone to hip bone, mat to mat with those hands. Inhale and reach forward. It's a little core engagement right here. And to warm up the body's midsection. Right? There we are. Good. Keep going. And then one more time, each side. Very nice. Keeping those knees bent and coming back to center. We're just going to alternate our knee taps here. So we're going to bring one knee up. We're hinging at the hips. We're keeping the knees right where they're at. So we're just going to lift the leg through the hips. Opposite hand, opposite knee. Good. A little exhale as we bring those together. Inhale, set the heel down. Exhale, and a little extra squeeze as we bring those knees on up. Lean into it. Lean forward. Try to avoid leaning too far back. Lean as the knees come up. Our chest gets a little bit closer to those knees. There we are. Just imagine we're just hinging right through those hips, okay? Rest of the leg is just staying right where it's at. Good stuff. One more time, each knee right here. Awesome. And we're just going to sit back. Keep the legs bent, heels on the ground, and just sit back and pulse. And try and sit back as far as you can. Nice long spine here. Sit back as far as you can to where the heels still stay on the ground, but maybe you're getting that tension point where they're lightly lifting up off the ground. Okay, and that's as far as we want to go with those. So when they lightly start to lift, then we rock back forward. Okay, so mine are just, I'm just hitting that tension point where they're just lightly lifting, trying to keep everything engaged through here without totally losing that tension. Good deep breaths, keeping that 3-part breath going. If we're able to do this while we're still breathing, and we're keeping our mind and body in control of how we're moving. That means we're moving in a way that's designed for us today. Good. Let's exhale and pull forward. Wrap those arms around those legs. Seated child's pose. Release the tension on those core muscles. And then stretch out that lower back a little bit. All right. Very nice. Let's flip over onto our hands and knees, all fours. Position right here. Okay. And from our hands and knees, shoulders over those wrists. Let's dig in those hands a little bit so the center of our palms lift up a little bit. And normally in cat and cow, we sometimes do curled toes. We sometimes do shoelace side of the feet. Let's all do shoelace side of the feet because we're going to lift onto the tops of our feet. Hips right above those knees to begin with. And then let's inhale up and look up as we bring our tailbone up toward the sky. Good. And exhale and look down. Tuck that tailbone under as we hit cat pose. And right back to cow. Looking right up. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. And then exhale and look down. Separate those shoulder blades from each other. And now with those feet the way they are, just continue to move like this. Inhale and exhale. Okay, and just trying to engage the spine as much as you can. Engage the core. But with our feet the way they are on the shoelace side of those feet, as we hit into that cat pose with that rounded back and exhale, try to lift those knees up just a little bit off the mat onto the shoelace side of your feet. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Keep digging into this. Engage the core, lift the spine as high as it will go, even lifting a little bit higher as we press those hands in, press through our shoulders and lift those knees up just a little bit off the mat. Awesome. One more time on the inhale and one more time on the exhale. All right. Good.
So let's come back to plank position now. Just lengthen those legs, curl those toes, drive those heels back. We're going to find runner's lunge position. Bring that right foot to the outside of both of the hands. Then the back knee can stay up or down. And basically we're just going to want to just get into runner's lunge and just move around. Move around. Just rock forward and back, heel to toe, okay? Or just draw some circles. Keep those hands pressed in. Okay, if we're on our knees here, that's fine. Can be on our knees and just draw our hips forward and back. Just explore this runner's lunge. Okay, so explore the runner's lunge. I'm going to turn to the front because we're going to explore now twisted low lunge. So take that right hand, just bring it onto our tailbone, and then just lift our right shoulder up, trying to stack our shoulders one atop the other. Again, that back knee can be up or down. And as we open our heart to the right side, make sure that right knee doesn't come out to the right. Make sure it comes toward our heart. Awesome. And then we can float that right hand up toward the sky. Now, if we want to keep those circles going and that little adjustment, okay, poses aren't necessarily meant to find that freeze frame or that pause. So we explore, and we see maybe there's some other areas that we can reach into. Maybe we can bring that right hand behind our back, and it helps us lift our shoulder up just a little bit more. Okay, so we're just moving through this, exploring and finding our body stretching a little bit deeper. Good. All right. Let's exhale that right hand down, press back to plank position. Bring that left foot to the outside of the hands. Let's explore the left side now. Runner's lunge, knee up or knee down. Okay, maybe heel to toe on that front foot. Maybe he's pressing through that back heel and pushing forward and back. Okay, maybe little circles as we continue to press those hands in. And now let's find that twisted low lunge. Maybe still exploring there. We'll initially take that left hand, just rest it on our tailbone. Open up our heart to the left side. Stack those shoulders. Left knee towards our heart a little bit more. Scissor those legs and squeeze them toward each other. Float that left hand up if you want to. Otherwise, leave it either on your tailbone or on your hip. Okay. All right. Get just a little exploration right here. We reach in, maybe we're feeling something through those hips, top of the back leg, that right leg, and those hip flexors. Maybe we need something a little bit more through the glutes and the hamstrings. On that left side, I don't know. That's why we move around and explore. Let's exhale both hands down. We'll press back to plank position, and we'll find downward facing dog. Bring those ears between our arms, hips to the sky, and begin alternating those heels. And as we get in the down dog, think about the strength, the continued strength of those hands. Digging into that mat, center of the palm, still lifting up. The strength of those arms with the soft bend in the elbow. We're flexing those muscles, keeping that strength, but still keeping that length. And we're also keeping that length from the crown of our head to our tailbone, lifting our hips just a little bit higher as we continue to alternate those heels and feel that stretch through our hamstrings, tend to our calves, heels, and arches. All right, so let's begin walking our feet to the outside of the hands. Right foot first, step that right foot to the outside of the hands, press back downward facing dog. And exhale, step forward. Inhale, step forward, and exhale, press back. And continue to alternate sides. Continue to alternate sides on these down dog spiders, as I call them. Spider lunges. Good. Keeping those hands pressed in as best you can. Opening up those hips just a little bit so those knees are getting wider. And getting wider than those twisted low lunge, wider than those runner's lunge. So it's getting those hips working, getting some mobility happening. All right. One more time, each side. And then we'll press back to down dog. We're going to step both feet to the outside of the hands at the same time. So step that right foot forward, step that left foot forward. Let's find a little bit of a yogi squat. A little bit of a yogi squat. Just sit down into it, trying to find heels to toes onto the ground best we can. Now if we're way up here and that's where we do that, if we get down and those heels lift, then just find the spot where the heels are still on the ground. Okay? With our hands, we're going to bring our hands behind our back and interlock our fingers. And as we do that, draw those shoulders back and down away from those ears. And then from here, start lifting your tailbone up toward the sky, dropping your crown of your head down, heel to toe those feet just a little bit so they're about shoulder width apart. And then float those hands up nice and high. So those legs are nice and long, soft, bending those knees, and we're in a forward fold with those arms floating above our head. Okay, if that doesn't feel good, then don't do it, of course. Just leave those hands just right on the kidneys and just draw those elbows toward each other. That will help get that desired stretch through the chest and shoulders in a very similar way. Awesome. Very nice. Few moments here. Let's go just release the hands and stay here in forward fold for a couple of breaths. Just allow us to settle in. Drop the crown of our head. Relax our face. Relax our shoulders. Release that tension. Good. A little bend in our knees. Strengthen our back and core. Think about how we do this movement right here. Bend those knees and sweep those hands nice and tall. And exhale right back to heart center. Good. Take a moment, rest those thumbs onto our hearts and feel that heartbeat. Let's continue on with our sun salutation. Inhale up, nice and tall, and exhale, and forward fold. Nice long spine as we come down. Inhale up, flat back, and drape those hands across the front of your shins. Rest below your knees, nice long spine. On your next exhale, set those hands down and step back to plank position. On our inhale, we'll rock forward, then you have a choice. Stay on those toes or come to your knees for a half push-up. As we exhale, come down and inhale, look up, either cobra, knees still down, or upward facing dog on the shoelace side of those feet. As we exhale, we'll lift those hips as we curl those toes and press back to downward facing dog, ears between those arms. Inhale as we step forward, sink into those legs on that exhale, and inhale, sweep up nice and tall, and exhale right back to heart center. Let's try and connect movements and breath and keep that process going. Inhale, reach, exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back, exhale, step back. Inhale, rock forward, that protects those shoulders. Exhale, knees or toes. Inhale, look up, cobra, upward dog, your choice. Exhale, press back, downward facing dog. Inhale, step or even hop forward, sink into those legs. Exhale, and sweep up nice and tall. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, reach forward, and exhale on down. Inhale, up the flat back, and exhale, bring it back, plank. Good. Inhale, rocking forward. Exhale, come on down. Inhale, look up, and exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, step or hop forward and sink into those legs on that exhale. Sweep up nice and tall, and exhale to heart center. Let's do about 4 more of those. Inhale up, and exhale, fold. Inhale, up the flat back, and exhale, come on back. Good. Rock and roll forward. Exhale, come down. And inhale, look up, and exhale, press it back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step or hop forward. You got some choices here. So we're designing your vinyasa flow, your sun A that works best for you. Inhale up and exhale, fold. Make some choices that make sense for you. Inhale up to flat back. Exhale, step back to plank. Recognize you can also go right from plank position and then exhale to downward facing dog. So that's a way to make it happen, okay? Inhale, step or hop forward. Exhale, bend those knees. Inhale, sweep nice and tall. And exhale to heart center. We got 2 more. Inhale up and exhale, fold. Inhale up to flat back. Exhale, bring it on back. Good. Rock and roll forward. Strong arms. Stay in control. Inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhale, step or hop forward. Good. Exhale, bend those knees. Sweep up nice and tall. And exhale right back to heart center. 1 more time. Inhale, reach forward, and exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up to that flat back. And exhale, come on back to plank. We'll rock and roll forward. Exhale, come down. Inhale, cobra, upward dog, looking up. Exhale, lift those hips nice and high. Downward dog into the sky. Inhale, step or hop forward. Good. Inhale up, sweep up, nice and tall, and exhale,
right back to our heart center. Rest those thumbs right there. Feel that heart beats. You just made that happen. You just made that happen. All right. Whew. Got some side planks to get into. And time to hit into our sun bee flows. So inhale, shoot those hands up, and exhale and fold. Inhale up the flat back, and exhale, step back to plank. Inside plank. Let's take that right hand, float it up toward the sky. Come onto the blades and edges of our feet, pinky toe and big toe side. You can also have that left knee down, kneeling side plank. And we're holding there, just stacking through those shoulders. I'll turn to the side so we can see that. Okay, we can also stack our feet one on top of the other. Okay, if you want, we can go 5-pointed star and lift that top leg up. You can even bind onto that toe and lift on up there. Good. Same thing onto the other side. Let's find side plank, left side. Left hand up toward the sky. And then find your variation of side plank here. Key thing, regardless if that knee's up or down, keep the hip up. Keep the hip up. Don't let those hips drop down. Okay, keep the hip lifting up toward the sky, engaging that core. Good. All right. Exhale, back to plank position. Let's take a nice big inhale and exhale, back to downward dog. From here, we're going to alternate three-legged dogs. Alternate three-legged dogs with knee pulls. So we're going to take that right heel, float it up toward the sky. Exhale, bring that right knee towards our right elbow. Inhale that right heel back up, and then set it down. Same thing other side. Inhale that left heel up. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, left heel up. Exhale, set it down. Keep going. Inhale that right. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale that right, and exhale, set it down. Same thing other side. Inhale left, knee to elbow. Inhale, lift it again. Exhale, set it down. Keep going. Keep going. Good. Keep going to the right, and then keep going to the left. We got at least one more on each side. One more on each side. Inhale that right. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale it and set it down. One more time to the left. Good, good, good. All right. And then set it down. This time on the right, we're going to inhale it up, and then we're just going to bring it through. Set it between those hands. Glue that left foot down on the ground, and find Warrior One pose. Warrior One pose. There we go. All right. We are here. We have arrived in Warrior One. Deep bend in that front knee right toward our pinky toes, so much so that we can see at least our big toe. Now if you look down and you can see your pinky toes of those smaller toes, then that knee is very, very likely not in the right position, and so we need to make sure it's driving out a little bit, because over time this is going to start causing some pain. Okay? I even resist trying to demonstrate it because I don't want that pain either. All right, let's find humble warrior. We're going to interlock those fingers behind our back. And again, if that's a challenge, just send them on your kidneys and draw those elbows back. Awesome. From here, our shoulders just naturally roll down and away from our ears. Our heart lifts up to the sky. Stay nice and tall, crown of our head through our tailbone, and begin hinging, coming to the inside of that right leg. Keep that length, crown of our head to our tailbone, and then when we've gone as far as we feel comfortable going, drop the crown of our head, float those hands up to the sky, only if that feels okay for our shoulders. And then breathe. And breathe. And just marvel at you, what you're able to do right now. Wherever you're at is where you're meant to be. Right here in this pose, where your body's designed to flow today. Let's take 2 more breaths right in this position. So much strength, so much stability, so much presence being right here in this moment. There's nowhere else we have to be. Now as we think about coming back, squeeze our abs, engage our lower back, sweep those hands right back up to Warrior One. Awesome. Exhale, frame up that front foot, step back to plank position. Good. Let's go through a little vinyasa flow. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, come down. Inhale, press back to downward facing dog. Take that left heel, float up toward the sky.
And then bring it through to the front of our mats. Glue that right foot down, find warrior one this side. Again, check in, knees to pinky toes. You know, just try and see that big toe, maybe that second toe. Yeah, back heel on the ground. Okay, so trying to feel both feet hitting the ground. Nice, strong warrior stance here. Let's get the humble warrior this side. Bring those hands behind the back. Draw those hands past our tailbone. Shoulders roll down away from our ears. Lengthen that spine. Breathe in. And then exhale, hinge to the inside of that left leg. Once you get to that spot, we can drop the crown of our head towards the ground. Float those hands up nice and high. Very nice. Engage our core and our lower back as we sweep those hands back to warrior one. Use that strength that we already possess. And then exhale, frame up that front foot back to plank vinyasa flow, and we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Good. From here, from downward dog, float that right foot nice and high. Go ahead and bring it through. Let's find warrior one, right side. Very nice. So find a nice warrior one posture. Excellent. From warrior one, again, nice stretch between our shoulder blades. Let's get some eagle arms going. Arms out nice and wide, thumbs back. Just initially squeeze those shoulder blades together. Nice stretch across the front of our shoulders and chest. And then let's drop that right elbow into that left elbow. Okay, or that right elbow onto our bicep. And either give ourselves a hug, opposite hands on opposite shoulders, back of the hands together, palms together, then lift those elbows, whichever arms you've got. Lift those elbows and feel that squeeze between the shoulder blades as we separate that space. I'm going to turn to the side. You stay right there. Awesome. So warrior one with eagle arms. Let's move to pyramid with eagle arms. So we're just going to lengthen that front leg. Lengthen that front leg, and then that allows us to square up our hips and shoulders. We didn't move our feet at all. Okay, so we're just doing a wide stance pyramid, squaring up, and then breathe in, get nice and tall, and begin hinging to our hips. Trying to keep our hips and shoulders square to the front of our mat. Keep those eagle arms. Keep those eagle arms. Let that center of gravity with those arms kind of carry you forward. And allow those shoulders to stretch even more deeply. We're now going to release those arms. We're going to find three-point balance. Hands to the mats. Let's begin floating that left heel up. From three-point balance, we're going to find warrior three. So those hands can just begin to lift up off the mat, hands by the hips, at our heart center, out to the sides or out front. Whew, there we go. Find a little balance. Stay right in here with our breath, still right there in that deep breath. We're going to move from warrior three to half moon. So we're going to come back to that three-point balance, both hands to the ground, or stabilize that right hand on the ground or block and float that left hand up toward the sky. Stacking through those shoulders, through our ribs, and our hips. So thinking about two planes of straight lines here. Fingertip to fingertip, if you will, or shoulder to shoulder. And then crown of your head to your heel, pointing those left toes towards where your heart and belly button are pointing. We're going to come out of this into warrior two. So a nice slow bend into that right knee, gently setting that back foot down. Good warrior two posture. Knee and toes in alignment, back foot perpendicular to that front foot. Excellent job right there. Good tall posture, ears over shoulders, over hips. A little bit of an exhale, flip that front hand, and inhale, lift that front hand up toward the sky, reverse warrior. Backhand rests on the leg or onto the tailbone or wraps completely around
your waist. Focus on the lift, nice and high, with that right hand into the sky, and then continuing to sink in to those legs, right knee hovering above that right ankle. Okay, good. Don't forget to squeeze, engage that glute muscle on that left side so it drives our hips forward. We get a little bit of extra stretch right there. Awesome. Good. Let's find right angle pose. As we exhale, bring that forearm to the top of that right leg, back hand to the hip or up toward the sky, or reach overhead, bicep to our ear. If we want just a little bit deeper into that right angle, drop that hand to the ground, that right hand to the ground or to that block on the ground. As long as we're able to keep those shoulders and ribs stacked, one atop the other, and our breath free flowing with that nice deep 3-part breath. If we're able to do those things, it's a pretty good indication that our body's designed to move this way today. That's right. As we exhale back to Warrior 2, let's lengthen that front leg. Still a soft bend in that right knee. Triangle pose, reach as far as you can forward. Hips go into the back of the room. And then exhale and tip over. There we go. So the right hand above or below the knee onto the leg or onto that block. And just avoid trying to go too deeply here. So maybe a good physical feel of this posture is we're still able to feel the top side of our body. Still able to feel a stretch through our ribs and down to our hips. Okay? Pretty good indicator that if we start closing down, we're not going to feel this at all. We're going to feel a lot more stretch here. It may not be good for our body to stretch that deeply, but we're going to lose a lot of that engagement up top if we're not stacking through our shoulders and lifting our heart just a little bit more up to that sky. Good. All right, as we exhale back to Warrior 2, come right back. Cartwheel those arms around and down. Boom, boom, boom. Let's do a vinyasa flow. Be back in downward facing dog. Here we go. All right. All right, from downward dog, float that left heel nice and high, way up into the sky. Go ahead and bring it through. Let's find Warrior 1. Warrior 1. That back heel's down. I'm going to flip over to the other side. Okay. All right, so left foot forward, right foot back, both feet on the ground, heel to toes. All right, Warrior 1 pose. And let's find those eagle arms. Let me face forward. What am I doing? Okay. There we go. All right, so let's open those arms up, thumbs to the back of the room, and then let's find those eagle arms. This time we're going to set left elbow inside of right elbow. Okay, either that hug, back of the hands, or palms together, lift those elbows up nice and high. Breathe in. All right. Good. From here, we're going to find that pyramid. So lengthen that front leg. Now I'm going to turn to the side. Lengthen that front leg. That will allow us to square up our hips and shoulders. And then keep the feet right where they're at as we hinge. As we hinge. Exhale on that hinge. Let your body adapt. Don't just drop down into this. Slowly adapt into this. Keep those arms right where they're at. So we use the weight of those arms to feel a little bit more from this stretch. Also asks a little bit more of our body because we have to stay stabilized, which means our core is engaging a little bit extra right here. All right, so we're going to release those arms, find 3-point balance, which means we're going to float that right foot up off the ground, both hands onto the ground, and then eventually to Warrior 3. Begin peeling those hands away from the ground, hands at heart center, back by those hips, to the sides, or out forward, thumbs up toward the skies. Finding that balance, being totally in this moment, not worrying about anything else except standing on this left foot, squeezing our glutes, feeling our lower back, and speaking kindly to ourselves, saying, I got this. This is what I'm able to do right now. We're going to bring those hands down to 3-point balance and find half moon, or stabilize that left hand onto that block, or ground and float that right hand up toward the sky. Oops. There we go. See, I came out of it. I lost my balance. It happens. It happens.
So again, stacking through those shoulders, lengthening in two directions, up and down and side to side, crown of your head to your heel. Hold on to this for 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready to come out, soft bend in that left knee, find Warrior 2 pose. Warrior 2 pose. Ooh, good dismount. All right. All right. Good deep bend in that front knee, hovering above the ankle, right towards our front foot. Good posture right there. Ears over shoulders over hips, not leaning too forward or back. Let's find reverse warrior. Exhale, flip that front hand, and inhale, lift it up toward the sky. Again, left hand reaching nice and high. Keep that nice deep bend in our front knee. Of course, you can always straighten it if you want. Totally up to you. All right, reaching, creating that space along the front side of our body, and think about that right glute. Engage that muscle. Press those hips forward just a little bit. Awesome. Let's find right angle pose. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, left forearm to the top of that leg. Backhand hip sky or overhead. You find what works for you. You can also bring that left hand to the inside of that left leg. Ground block or float it. And then breathe. Breathe into that right angle. So I notice when I get into a little bit deeper, my leg wants to straighten a little bit. So let me see if I can keep good posture on my front leg and see if that still feels right. Okay, awesome. All right, exhale back to Warrior 2. Lengthen that front leg. Triangle pose, breathe in. And exhale, reach as far forward as you can. Hips go towards the back. And then tip over, triangle pose. Hand on the leg above or below the knee or onto that block, stack through those shoulders and those ribs, lifting that right hip toward the sky and try and feel that engagement across the top side of our body. Okay? We're gonna get the bottom side stretched regardless, just by being in this position, right? So the key is, can we feel the top side? Can we feel our whole body working together? Awesome. All right, exhale, back to Warrior 2. Let's cartwheel those arms around and down. Come back to a vinyasa flow. Meet back in downward facing dog. From downward dog, float that right foot nice and high. Three-legged dog, bring it through runner's lunge. Runner's lunge, staying down here. Drop the bottom knee down, shoelace side of that left foot. Good, so find that runner's lunge and then crawl up that right leg. Bring both hands on top of the leg. Okay, I'm gonna face you because we're gonna do a little rotation. I want you to see that. Okay, all right, so make sure that back knee is behind that hip. Awesome. All right, left hand just to the outside of that leg, right hand points behind you. Breathe, sit nice and tall. Sit nice and tall. And breathe. Little rotation right there. Good. Pressing in through that left hand, little dynamic tension. So we exhale back, front and center, hands on top of that right hip. Left hand now to the sky, reach up and then press our hips to the left side. Good, a little side bend, opening up the left side to the ribs, down to the hip, try and feel that side of our body. And then we're going to get back into a side plank, but it's a horizon lunge, so our front foot will be forward. Let me show you how we're going to get there. All right. Exhale, both hands to our instep. Back foot up, heel up off the ground. We're going to take that right foot and just point it to the right side now. Walk it back and point it to the right side, okay? As we do that, we're coming on the pinky toe side of that left foot or that left knee onto the ground, okay? There we go, side plank. Front foot forward or top foot forward, horizon lunge. Knee above the ankle here, knee pointing towards the toes. Excellent. All right, there we go. We're going to thread the needle now. Exhale, reach under that left armpit, scratch that back, and then inhale and bring it up. Give me 4 more just like that. Okay, listen to your back. Listen to your back as we do this. Good, a couple more. And last time. All right. From here, bring both hands down. Come onto the toes of that left foot. Float that right heel up toward the sky. 3-legged dog. And then sweep that front foot through, that right foot through. Crescent pose. Crescent pose. There we go. All right. Very nice. Very nice. Deep into that knee, squaring up everything. Back heels up off the ground. And hips and shoulders are looking right at the front. Bring those arms out nice and wide. Stay nice and tall as we rotate towards the right side. Okay, squeezing those legs together like they're scissored, okay? Don't let that right knee fall out. Keep those legs scissored and engaged. That left hand now is going to reach up toward the sky as that right hand drops down and maybe just sets on your left glute. So we twisted and then we lifted. So nice and tall, really reaching in to our lower back and then that left hip flexor, top of that quad. So we exhale, come back to parallel. Take an inhale, exhale, come back, front and center. Awesome, bring those hands to prayer and then lean in, engage our core and our lower back. Lengthen our spine, left elbow comes to the outside of the right leg. Press those hands toward each other. Trying to keep those hands at about our heart center. Good. We can also reduce the range of motion, lift up. But if we've got those hands in prayer, try to feel every fingertip hitting each other. Try and feel every knuckle pressing in. Those elbows stacked in our breath, free, flowing, and going. So we exhale. Keep that depth. Just set the hands down, press back to plank. Vinyasa flow. Let's move back to downward facing dog. All right. Whew. From here, float that left heel up nice and high. Going to bring that left foot forward, runner's lunge, this side, back knee down on the ground. Hip is in front of that back knee. Shoelace side of that right foot. Just crawl up that right leg. Okay, all right. So our right hand's going to come to the outside of that left leg. Left hand's going to point behind us. Exhale and rotate, stay tall. And then breathe once we find that spot. Good, nice breath, nice and deep inhale here. Good stretch, a lot of rotation through our spine. Take an inhale and then exhale back to center. Left hand on top of that leg, right hand inhales up, side bend, press our hips to the right side. Good, breathe into those ribs, stretching the right side of our body out. And then that horizon lunge, bring both hands down to the instep of that left foot. Come off that back knee as we point our left foot to the left side. I'm walking it back, knee to the toes, knee stacked above the ankle, right hand down, pinky toe side of my right foot, left hand up toward the sky, hips lifting high, and hold, and breathe, and we'll add that thread. Exhale, reach underneath that right armpit, inhale, lift to the sky, listening to our lower back. And you can have that right knee down on the ground as well. Total of 5 right here. When you're done with those 5, just float that left hand up to the sky. Hold that horizon lunge. Awesome. And then bring both hands forward. Come onto the toes of that right foot, float that left heel up toward the sky, three-legged dog, ears between those arms, and then bring that left foot through, front of our mat, crescent pose. Crescent pose, back heel stays up, hips and shoulders square to the front. Excellent. All right. A lot of balance and stability happening right here. Bring those arms out nice and wide. Take a nice inhale and then exhale, rotate to the left side. Turn. Take a nice big inhale, right hand lifts up toward the sky, exhale, and left hand drops down. Good. Squeezing those legs in, scissor those legs for that strength, for that stability. And just try to feel that across the top of the right leg through those hip flexors. Let's exhale back to parallel. Little inhale right here and exhale back front and center. Good. And then let's bring those hands to heart center. On that exhale, lean forward. Right elbow to the outside of that left leg this time. Press those hands together, twisted prayer. Strong everything. Guess that's the best way to describe it. Everything is working in conjunction with each other here. Even that right foot that's stepping back there. We're still pressing through that heel. That leg is still long. That glute's engaged. Our core's engaged. Our fingertips are pressing towards each other. Our breath is still working and free flowing. Our heart's lifting. We're squeezing between those shoulder blades to continue to help that heart lift. Good, and that knee is strong on that left side. All right. We're going to come back to crescent pose from here. Awesome, and then just step forward towards the front of our mats. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Some standing balance postures right here. We'll start with standing pigeon. Let's allow ourselves to get a stretch and practice our balance with that stretching. Right foot stays on the ground. Left toes toward the left shin. Good. Externally rotate that hip. Bringing those toes and knees out to the left side. Bring that ankle above our right knee. Then sit down into it. Sit down into it like a single-legged chair. Okay, I've got that block right there in front. If you have a block or something that resembles that, you can always set your fingertips there, especially if your balance is being challenged too much and it's taken away from the stretch, or risking any kind of not good feeling on that hip, right? Okay. Play around with your depth. Again, just we're not hitting the pause button. We're not hitting that freeze frame. Just always a little bit of constant motion, constant adjustments. Okay, finding a little bit more depth, sinking in a little bit more what works for us. Maybe just hanging out on top of that leg like it's a shelf. I don't know. Okay. Take one more inhale, and then on the exhale, let's release out of this and find the same thing other side. Left foot down. Right knee and toes open up to the right side. Externally open that hip. Rotate that hip. Good. Right toes toward the shins. Bring that right ankle above that left knee. Keep that figure four going with that right knee. Then sit back into it. Good. All right. If you want that block, we got that. Challenge our balance. Feel that nice stretch. Breathe. Getting that pigeon stretch into the hips. Two more breaths. All right, so exhale and release. Let's go and find a seated position. Seated position. Come on down to the ground. Oh, how time flies when we're having fun. Okay. Let's come on out, both legs forward, toes toward those shins. We started this way more dynamically. Let's hold this pose now. Inhale up nice and tall. Nice and tall. Exhale and reach forward as far as we can reach. Let your body dictate how far you can go. And then we just set those hands down to stabilize. Okay, stabilize at the feet, ankles, shins, just beside those legs. Then we use that breath to get a little bit extra. So on our exhales, our body just naturally softens through our joints and through our muscles. And so it gives us an opportunity to sink maybe a little bit deeper into this stretch without going beyond, without going overboard. So we can breathe in and get a light lift from that, and then exhale, maybe reach it a little further. Maybe crawl those hands a little bit more. Inhale, and then exhale, maybe reach a little bit more. Okay? But just bear it in mind, being mindful, not having our minds full, but being mindful, being aware of how far we're going, and keeping that mind-body connection so we're making sure we're making the right choices for you. Awesome. All right, exhale and release back. Let's get a little bit more core going right here. Boat pose. Oh yes, it's one of our favorites. That's right, we can bend those knees initially, grab behind those knees, find that balance point, and then either release those hands out nice and wide, can bring them on the ground, and we can also lengthen those legs. Okay, nice tall posture, crown of our head through to our tailbone. Trying to keep that boat afloat. Keep those legs up into the sky as best you can. And again, we're still, despite the challenge of this pose, still breathing freely. Which means, as we think about the emotional aspect of the deep state in our health, finding ways to stay calm, whether we're in situations that are really easy, like a seated position or Shavasana. I'd argue that Shavasana is not necessarily easy. You want me to come out of this? Okay, exhale, release forward. Okay, before I start like a huge monologue. Okay, but even in the challenging poses, Okay, let's do a wide leg bounce. You're welcome to do both the same way we just did, okay? Or we're gonna do a little bit of a balance, okay? Wide legs out and a wide leg balance. So this is more of a balance versus a core strengthener. You can either bind at the toes or grab onto the legs, okay? And hold right there. Okay, I'm gonna bind my toes and just watch if there's anything behind you. Okay, this one is real easy to roll back on. Don't bonk your head. Okay, especially if that glass table is behind you, or that nice vase is behind you, or that cherished lamp of yours is right behind you. Don't bonk your head on that. Okay. I could stay here all day. You guys want to do that? Probably not, right? No, heck no. Okay, all right. As we come on out of this, let's rock a little bit forward. Good. Let's bring the soles of our feet together and just to gently come onto our backs. Come onto our backs. Soles of our feet together, butterfly legs, reclining goddess. And then we're going to have a little dynamic here, and then we're going to settle into reclining goddess. So the dynamic, hands next to our hips, knees nice and wide, feet together. Inhale, press through the outer edges of those feet. Okay, the blades of the feet, as I call it, the pinky toe side, and then lift those hips. Get an even deeper stretch in the inside part of those hips. Inhale up and exhale, release down. Good, give me a couple more, just like that. Inhale up and exhale and release. Good. 2 more times on the move. And then as we settle down, we can keep those legs there and just think about those knees dropping a little bit closer to the floor. Keep the hips down. Breathe into this. Exhale, soften. Let those knees drop just a little bit more. Take another couple breaths here. Then we're going to move right from here. You're welcome to stay here or wherever else you feel drawn to move toward, or Shavasana. Let's find something to where we can find that final relaxation, that final state of calm.
calm and rest. I'm going to dim the lights and guide us into Shavasana. I think I forgot to say start the playlist, so if you forgot to start the playlist because I forgot to say start the playlist, I apologize. If you did start the playlist, number 22, the Shavasana song is Lost Without You, a fifth on the bottom. My apologies there. All right, in Shavasana, let's find a nice relaxing state on our mat. Let's commit to being on our mat 100%, feeling our body. Noticing the points in which our body is touching the surface, pressing in. And then take a nice big inhale, and with each exhale, let those points press in even more, as if we're sinking into that mat beneath us. Releasing tension in the arches of our feet as we uncurl our toes. Releasing the tension in the palms of our hands as we open up our fingers and release our fists. Releasing tension in our glutes as we just let our glutes press into the mat beneath us. And allowing our shoulders then to roll down and away from our ears and just soften, whether we're in a seated position or laying down, relax and release. Releasing any expression from our face. No smiles, no frowns. Just no expression whatsoever as we create a little space between our lips and relax our teeth and jaws. Allow our eyelids to rest gently on our eyes and our breath to just be a natural, everyday breath. And as we find this most relaxing position, we're seeking to find stillness in this position. So we can feel the effects of our practice today reverberating throughout our body, throughout our entire body, as our practice touched everything within our body today. Yoga allowing us to engage in the 6 elements of deep health. From a physical perspective, we moved our bodies, we engaged. From an emotional perspective, we allowed ourselves to remain calm in the toughest moments and the easiest moments. And from an environmental standpoint, surrounding ourselves with people and an environment that's good for our health and well-being. From a mental perspective, this was an investment in our minds, allowing ourselves to perhaps allow some of that clutter, some of that complexity, some of those things that are negative to just sit by the wayside for this past hour while we focused on ourselves. And from a spiritual standpoint, allowing ourselves to find just a little bit greater purpose today. And then finally, from that relational aspect, knowing that we're interconnected, that we crave the connections that we have with each other. But then those connections, we do that because we know these connections are ones that are supportive, that allow us to be our real selves, that allow us to be authentic and endure with who we are. Which brings us right to our closing message. Nothing in nature exists or lives for itself. Rivers don't drink their own water. Trees don't eat their own fruit. The sun doesn't shine for itself. And a flower's fragrance is not for itself. In essence, we're living for each other because it's the rule of nature. I honor the love and light in each of you as it's also within me. Namaste.